This is the ministry of Moses, part 87. We're going to take our text from Numbers 21, verse 1 to 5. Now let us consider Numbers 21, verse 1 to 3. When the king of Arad, the Canaanites, who dwelt in the south, heard that Israel was coming on the road to Atharim, then he took some of them. He took some of them prisoners. So Israel made a vow to the Lord and said, if you will indeed deliver these people into my hands, then I will utterly destroy their cities. And the Lord listened to the voice of Israel and delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them and their cities. So the name of that place was called Omar. From here you see that this king decided to attack the Israelites because he felt they were vulnerable and weak. He wanted to take an advantage of their vulnerability. You know, in the beginning, his plans appeared to succeed because he was able to take part, you know, because he was able to take part of the Israelites back to Canaan as prisoners. But this was just temporary. Let us carefully study verse 2. If you look at it well, you will discover that the entire people in Canaan were addressed as a single person, and also the entire people in Israel were addressed as a single person. Why? Anytime a nation is addressed as a single person, it means they are in unity. If you will deliver these people into my hand, you could have expected it to be if you will deliver these people into our hands. This was because of unity. When a nation embraces unity, they will suddenly become one in the sight of God. One of the possibilities of unity is oneness. The Israelites knew that the Canaanites were united, and this made it possible for them to win. So, in order for them to also take back what has been taken from them, they will also need to embrace unity. You cannot overcome a united force if you don't embrace unity. If your enemies are united and you are not united, you will never overcome them. If your enemies are united, you will also need to fight in unity with God on your side for you to gain victory. The Israelites made a vow before the Lord, and the Lord gave them the victory they desired. Let us consider verse 4 to 5. Then they journeyed from Mount Or by the way of the Red Sea to go round the land of Edom, and the soul of the people became very discouraged on the way. And the people spoke against God and against Moses. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and our soul loathes this worthless bread. In verse 4, the effect of the Edomites' decision on them was really grievous because they did not allow the Israelites to pass through the land of Edom. So the Israelites had to go backwards to a place very close to the Red Sea. So the only option the Israelites had was to pass through a long route. They have to go back to the Red Sea and start all over again because the Edomites refused to allow them pass through their land. Suddenly their journey became like a journey in a circle. This was what the Israelites saw that made their soul discouraged. And because their soul was discouraged, they spoke against God and against Moses. What? Formerly, all they do is to speak against Moses and Aaron. But now that Aaron is gone, they spoke against God. They spoke against God and against Moses. From here, we can observe that when Aaron died, Moses moved to the position of vice, while God became the president. So Moses stepped down into Aaron's position so that God can step up into his own position. Now, this was why the people could now start seeing God. Initially, they only speak against Moses and Aaron because they were the two head they could see. But now, after the death of Aaron, they could see God as their president and Moses as the vice. So, because their soul was discouraged, they spoke against God and Moses, meaning they spoke against the president and the vice. The Israelites became so bold that speaking against God was no longer a big deal to them. They continued by calling manna, which was an heavenly bread, a worthless bread. Imagine God decided to feed you with food from heaven, and that food was always available for you to, to eat. And after some years, all you could say to the supplier is that the bread is worthless. You can also see how terrible that statement is. There is nothing a man whose soul is discouraged cannot say to God. He can bless God today and curse God tomorrow. This is why we must all learn to encourage ourselves in the Lord. If you can learn to encourage yourself in the Lord, then you have gotten the key to overcome discouragement of the soul. This is the wisdom of God. Don't sell it.